And that brings us right into the core of our Christian faith. Eventually, God sends Jesus to show us and tell us again in an ultimate way that we can't save ourselves, we can't get it all right, we can't fix everything on our own, we can't earn God's love. God humbles himself on a cross to show us how deep that love is. There's this moment when Jesus is on the cross and people were taunting him. You might remember this in the Gospels, and he's up there and people are taunting him, if you are God, save yourself. But Jesus doesn't, because Jesus wants to show them and to show us something more powerful than saving ourselves. And that's the saving love of God. That's the love that couldn't die. It's the love that holds us and goes with us through every wilderness. It's a love that doesn't let us go. It's a love that comes to us even before we can love God back or love our neighbor the way God calls us to. It's a love that frees us to realize we don't have to prove ourselves or get it all right or earn God's love, that God's got us. That love is first and foremost something that we receive. We rest because God saves us. We can't save ourselves. Sajan's family in India has a coffee company. They buy the beans from local growers who grow the coffee beans around southern India, and they roast them, and they grind the coffee, and then they sell it in their town. It was his uncle's work for years. His cousin expanded the company to also sell coffee wholesale around their state in India. And now his cousin's son is about to start college to study business and economics. And so I joked with him about how maybe he could start to export the coffee outside of India to grow the business more. Maybe a classic American thing to say. The young man nodded his head, like maybe he was open to that ambition, or glad to consider the possibility, or maybe amused because here's this white lady telling him this. Later, Sajan mentioned the conversation to his uncle. And his uncle responded by looking around and saying, "This is enough." And he pointed around them to their cluster of small houses, surrounded by trees and plants and a cow. These houses that were built over time as the various branches of the family grew. One building where roasting equipment is housed. All of it giving them a simple lifestyle with enough to enjoy and to share and to make it possible to welcome us with such a warm embrace. "This is enough," he said. We rest because God rested. And we rest because God saves us. We can't save ourselves through our being strong or being good or being productive or being smart or whatever else. But we can receive and we can share the enough that God gives us. We can receive and share the love that God gives us. It's a love that saves us.